Hello everyone, welcome back in another video. I am Vaibhav, and today is the date is 1st August of 2022, and our today video topic is recursion in Java. So let's see. Basically, what is meant by recursion? Recursion is nothing but is a let's suppose it is a method which call itself again and again. That means it repeatability to itself continuously. That means let's suppose when we are thinking about some different points, that time we have to do these things or we have to do not these things. That time we are talking with ourselves. That means we are calling our own. That means that is happening a recursion. Uh, that means calling itself. That means calling yourself again and again. That means recursion. So in Java, recursion will be done as a suppose any method is there, and that method block, before the ending that method call itself again and again. That means that method called as a recursive method, and the process or the methodology or the technique which is done for the doing that method recursion, it's all over method recursion method, all over process of that method recursion we call it called as a recursion. That whole process we can call it as a recursion. So what was the actual functions, or what are the different features, or what are the different conditions regards the recursion? Let's see. Basically, recursion are done for the reducing the size of code. By using recursion, we are able to reduce the size of code. That is the advantage of recursion. But instead of that, the major disadvantage is that after reducing the size of code, that means it goes difficult for the understanding. That means when any user, any coder or developer can have to read another's code, that time it goes difficult to understand the flow of code, or it goes difficult to the assume that flow of that code. That is the major disadvantage of it. So how recursion actually perform? Let's we see. Initially, let's suppose we take some example on it. Basically, we see take an example for a patterns. In a pattern, that time we are writing. Before that, we are taking an example of example for the factorials of 5. So, in fact, finding a factorials of 5, that time the factorial means is the multiplication from that number up to 1. The factorial of 5 is 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, and the answer is 120. That means that is the factorial of 5. We can find out that factorial also by using a for loop. That time we giving initial condition as I is equal to 1, and giving that condition travels toward up to the 5, less than or equal to 5, and we giving continuously increment for that. We can also find out that factorial by using a for loop. But in recursion, we are not going to do this. We are not going to use any for loop or any while loop. We are using methods. In our main method, we create some data for that recursion. We are giving like a num is equal to 5. Int num is equal to 5. We initializing that value. After that, we are creating one method for factorial, that is static void fact, and we are passing the parameter which is written in main method, that is num. We are passing in that method, and we doing performing some operation on it, like that we take one more variable, that is fact, that is int fact is equal to fact into num. That means it travels for the multiplying that num by a 1. We are putting the factorial by as incremental. After that statement, we giving the incremental or decremental condition. As we see in our for loop, we are initializing the value, then giving the range for it or the path for it, and after there is a condition of increment or decrement. Like as we are also doing some same things in our recursion. We initializing that point, after we are taking a case in a in a if condition, that is num is greater than 0. That is our condition for this example. After that we giving an increment for the I, that is I plus plus, and after that we are calling that method again at the bottom of that block code. That time we are again calling that method a factor. That time we can write as a fact and then parenthesis and passing the parameter recently updated in our block, and that block will go against at the top side of block of code and perform these things again repeatability. That means this cycle goes continuously until the condition should unsatisfied. That is the actual function or working of a recursion. So basically recursion having two types, that is with return type or without return type. That means one type is that the recursion should give us any output like in integers, numbers or any kind of output, and another type is without a return type. So let's suppose in our example we are seeing the example of factorial. In this case that time we are receiving output in terms of number, that is the fact number, that is the we are getting written as a fact is equal to 120. That means factorial answer is a 120. That time we getting a return in terms of number or in terms of value. And another type is that without the return type factorials. So in this case, let's suppose there is a one array there is some one of the array integer array, and we have to print that array. That time we are giving a same line of code for the same, and after that we putting a sysort. That time it show the it give us output in a printing that array. That is the non-return type of factorial. Sorry, not factorial, non-return type of our recursion. After that we can see more two method in this case. That is that method is with or without stopping conditions. That means the parameter which we are giving for the for that our recursion, if we are giving some limitations or some boundaries for that case, that time that our recursion will performing operation till that achieving the true condition. After that condition goes false, that time our recursion gets stopped. In our previous example, we giving a if condition like if condition as num is greater than 0. That means let's suppose our num value is 4. That means our recursion will continuously performing operation on that, and after we are putting a condition of num minus, that means we are doing a decrement of that num value. That means after each iteration that value of num will be reduced. In first iteration the value of num is a 4. That means 4 is greater than 0, condition is satisfied, the condition is true. That time our loop is run. After that num minus is there. Due to that decrement is done, and the updated num value is 3. 3 is greater than 0. That time again it loop is run. After that decrement upgraded the value of num, that is the 2, and again after again one more iteration the value of num is 1, and after our value after last updation of num, that is the 1, again value is true. But in the last case, after the decrement, after the completion of that loop, after the decrement value of num is minus again, and it is defined as a 0. In this case our if condition is num should be greater than 0, but that time 0 is greater than 0 is shown in if condition, so that is the false. That means our iteration gets stopped in this case. That is the with the stopping condition of recursion. And in without stopping, that means infinite conditions for recursion. If we are not putting any condition for the same example, our recursion gives us result in terms of infinite. Let's suppose in same example I am giving condition like in if bracket, instead of giving num is greater than 0, I am putting a condition like only true. That means each iteration performing on that recursion, it shows the result as a true, and that loop continuously performing, that recursion continuously performing the iteration. There is not any limit. That means this goes at infinite loop, at infinite recursion. That is the basic introduction about recursion. Thank you.